Mr. Joseph, please read the title to Senate Bill 88.
Senate Bill 88 by Senator Gardner and Representative Becker Kay concerning clarification that retail marijuana sales are subject to sales tax levied by certain limited purpose governmental entities.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 88 on second reading.
Continue.
Thank you. Members, this is a bill all of you have been waiting for. It is a bill that clarifies that retail marijuana sales remain subject to the sales taxes of special districts and any other sales taxes that limited purpose governmental entities levied on retail marijuana sales before July 1, 2017. I think everyone in this chamber and many outside know exactly what that means. And in a strange role reversal, one of my colleagues is sitting here with the statute book and the Constitution in his hand to speak upon the bill, I think. And so I will end there for the moment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With that type of an introduction, I'll be glad to step up and give my observations on Senate Bill 88. Yes, it is something we've been looking at for some time. Seems like we spent a couple of days on this a few months ago. And when I read through Senate Bill 88, it is addressing an issue that did come up because of some rather poorly drafted legislation that did become law. And that's my point. It did become law, and that is that certain sales taxes were eliminated. They aren't there. They aren't on the books. They used to be, but they aren't there today. This is a tax that doesn't exist in today's law here in Colorado. And what Senate Bill 88 does is it says to those local districts whose sales taxes on marijuana sales has been eliminated, therefore doesn't exist, isn't there today, you can go ahead and put them back. And with a wink and a nod, it says, and, well, I'll just quote, page 4, line 27, starting with 26, shall determine whether the levying of such sales tax complies with the Colorado Constitution. And this is advice to the local districts. You can look at it and see if it's legal to do this or not. But well, actually, let me back up a little bit to the legislative declaration, because in the legislative declaration, I see it acknowledges on page 3, line 16. That the General Assembly is subject only to constitutional limitations. The General Assembly has plenary power to enact legislation, but we are subject to constitutional limitations. And so what Senate Bill 88 says is this tax can go back onto the books, which means this can be a tax now established. And that's what Senate Bill 88 does, is it authorizes the establishment of new taxes, because they're not there today, so that makes them a new tax. And then with a wink and a nod, it says to the local districts, but if you think that it's unconstitutional, then don't proceed with this. Well, if that isn't passing the buck and failing to take on our legislative responsibilities, our plenary powers. So we pass a bill that says it's legal if you think it is to the local districts when the legislature can't even decide whether or not it is. Well, let me make that decision a little bit easier, a little bit more straightforward, because this could all be cured by one simple process, and that is if this bill were to say, by a vote of the people, the taxes can be established. Because that's what the law does say. And if there's any question about that, I'm not going to read it all to you here, but in Article 10, Section 20, commonly known as the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, be aware of this one critical component right in the, it's the second sentence of of the section, it says, its preferred interpretation shall reasonably restrain most the growth of government. And that means that if it's a new tax, if it should go to a vote of the people or not, the question is unquestionable. It should go to a vote of the people. Senate Bill 88 is just legal manipulation or you know, I'll leave it at that word, which the people in my district sent me down here to get rid of, not to put more in place. Mr. Chairman, I'm voting no on Senate Bill 88. I hope every senator will look at the law, particularly the constitutional law, very carefully and understand we have a responsibility to take a statement, make a statement here, not pass the buck. Vote no on Senate Bill 88. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing no further discussion, Senator Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, the good senator from Berthoud did a very good job of explaining the constitutional piece. We have a choice whether we live within the boundaries of the Colorado State Constitution or whether we take an alternative view. And it kind of reminds me back when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s. You remember the grand saying at the time? If it feels good, do it. So to this legislature, that's the difference. That is actually the cry here. That is actually the decision that we make with this vote. We have clearly stated that the tax does not exist currently. It is not being collected and it does not exist. Article 10, Section 20 of the Colorado State Constitution clearly outlines what needs to happen. The question is, do you believe in constitutional law, or do you believe that if it feels good, let's do it? I urge a no vote and a vote for the Colorado State Constitution.
Senator Leader Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I urge a yes vote on Senate Bill 88. It's been deemed that this has always been constitutional. Let's get with the program. Let's approve it. Let's do for the people of Colorado what they expect us to do. I urge a good vote, a positive vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 88. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 88 is adopted.